So I love cornbread, I love jalapenos, and I love these candied jalapenos, also known as the cowboy candy, right? Combine them all together and you get something that is quite amazing. So for that kick-ass recipe, I have cornbread and I have the candied jalapenos, the cowboy candy. Take note of that, jot it down. Alternatively, recipe will be in the description. We're gonna make the cornbread first, and then we'll move on to the star of the show, which is the cowboy candy. Let's do it.
Here's a quick overhead shot of the ingredients that we're going to need to make this amazing cornbread.
Baking powder, let's talk about it. This is technically an additive, right? But I do buy good baking powder that doesn't contain aluminum. Some brands are better than others. The ones that are not very good contain aluminum. Buy the one that doesn't have it. Mixing bowl of an appropriate size. We have 2 whole eggs. Crack them in. Granulated sugar into the bowl, whisk it together. Butter goes in, it's been softened up. About 30 seconds in the chef mic. So really I'm just creaming the sugar and the butter with the eggs together. This is gonna help us get a little bit more rise in the cornbread. I'm only using 2 teaspoons of the baking powder because I don't wanna just kill my palate with baking powder, you know what I'm saying?
So here's the consistency that we're looking for. Nice, light, and airy. It's gonna really help our cornbread rise very nicely.
Whole milk. I don't really like buttermilk. If you want to use buttermilk, use buttermilk. 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. The heavy cream adds a nice moisture to the bread. Some salt, baking powder, cornmeal, and I have unbleached AP flour.
Give the ingredients a whisk until the ingredients are just incorporated. Cornbread tastes awesome when it's baked in cast iron pan, so butter the bottom of it so it doesn't stick and pour that beautiful batter right into that cast iron pan. Toss into a preheated oven 400 degrees and let that bake for 20 to 25 minutes. Cooking times may vary. And now's the time we're going to start making this cowboy candy.
For the cowboy candy, here is our mise en place. Basically just means to put in place.
Quick overhead shot of the ingredients that we're going to need. Simple yet delicious.
For the jalapenos, cut them up into about 1/4, 1/2 inch, whatever you want to do. Sharp knife is very important. You can really go as thick or thin as you want on the peppers, just as long as the slices are somewhat similarly in size. So first thing we want to do is get a stock pot over medium-high heat. Add the sugar, a little bit of vinegar.
As this comes up to a boil, give the vinegar and the sugar a stir to help it dissolve.
So basically we want to bring this up to a boil, reduce that heat to keep it at a nice gentle simmer for about 5-6 minutes, something like that.
Reduce the heat to hold that simmer and set a timer.
Perfect. So good. So, pull that out. Now, that actually worked out pretty well with the timing. So in goes some chili powder, cumin seeds, anise seeds, these medallion jalapenos, and we're gonna let that simmer for an additional 5 minutes. So if you need to crank up the heat a little bit, then I turn it back up to medium-high, bring that back up to the boil, and then reduce that heat to about medium-low and let it simmer for another 5-6 minutes, something like that. So now, grab a slotted spoon. You want to fish out these jalapenos. Put them into a jar. Smelling good. Let the liquid simmer. 8 to 10 minutes, gonna reduce by half and gonna become a nice thick, syrupy consistency.
So once that liquid has had time to simmer and reduce by half, pour it over the jalapenos and let that cool to room temperature.
Smells good, man. Smells good. It's a lot darker because I use sugar in the raw, obviously. These will stay good in the refrigerator for about a month. You want to let them cool down to room temperature before you put any kind of lid on them. Of course, we did make the candied jalapenos, and we made this cornbread. all goes according to plan, and it should just pop out just like that. It's very dense bread. Still warm. It's awesome.
So let the cornbread cool down to room temperature for about an hour. That way when you cut into it, it won't break apart or tear.
The best thing we have to do is give it a whirl, huh? Smells good. Nothing beats homemade cornbread with jalapenos, especially with these candied jalapenos. Man, definitely can't beat that, man. That is damn delicious. Man, that cornbread's awesome. That Cowboy candy is nice and sweet, nice and spicy. I love it. So good. Match made in heaven. So, now that you know how to make it, go to the store and get yourself some ingredients and make some cornbread and some Cowboy candy.